What's going on, beautiful people? Welcome back to another episode of the After You cast. Now, today, switching it up and doing something a little bit different, something that I haven't done typically in the past, which is I usually have one-to-ones. But as you can see today, we've got two people with us today. So without further ado, please introduce yourself to the people.
I'll go first, shall I? Yeah. So I'm Sonny. My name's Sonny Metin. I'm a filmmaker from South East London. Run my own company called Red Phoenix Films.
Nice.
And that's me.
Yeah.
Yourself?
I'm Elias. I've been in the movie industry for the last 7-8 years. Started off in catering and recently just started my new business, doing a coffee craft to go back into the movie industry.
Wicked. Well, thank you very much, guys, for coming. First things first, because, you know, I always say this, like, time is our most important, valuable asset, you know, we can never get it back. So if anyone chooses to share time with the podcast, with me in general, it's always like an appreciative one. You know what I'm saying?
Our pleasure, mate.
So, kicking things off, obviously, let's get a little bit of a backstory for the people and obviously get to introduce and let you know, like, where you guys come from and, you know, what essentially it is that you do. So, you know, starting off with you on there, bro. Like, how did you get into, you know, what you do, filmmaking and all that sort of thing? Like,
I'll start from the beginning. I was actually studying sports therapy in university. So I went to University of Kent.
Nice.
Studied sports therapy for a while. I'd done 2 years of that, and I did actually enjoy it. It was, you know, the course was fun and it was really interesting. I was learning a lot, but something just wasn't right there. I kind of felt like I was planning life around my plan B. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And just something wasn't right. I mean, I was in class one day. I'd just come back from a holiday from Thailand, and I filmed like a little travel video with a GoPro. So I bought my first camera, a little GoPro camera, made a travel video, enjoyed it. It was great. And then, I got back from that, and then I went back to class, and I just remember sitting in the class. Our teacher was giving the new technique on the spine of how to do the neck, click the back or something like that.
Yeah.
And I was just staring out the window like this. I was like, I don't know if I want to be here anymore, man. This is good, but it's just not, man. Literally, they're over there doing the course. I'm looking out the window over here.
Yeah.
Just got up and I just walked out, and that was that.
Wow.
That I quit the course.
Yeah.
Went home that day, and I enrolled in another course, another uni, but obviously with film.
Nice. So
I just thought I'd take a chance, go down that road, and probably the best thing I've ever done.
I love them spontaneous stories, like, you know, they're the best because, you know, it's organic. It's organic, and it's like people can relate to that, you know, like
literally just based off of, you know, how I was feeling and the path I wanted to take. And I didn't want to go down the road of a path B because I know it's not going to be happy, is it? Yeah. It's not going to be a happy road.
So true, bro.
And I just had to be true to myself and trust my intuition, trust my gut. And definitely the best thing to do.
Well, I mean, like, I know quite a few friends, obviously, I've grown up around, like, film industry and, like, film photography is, like, my thing. So, you know, one thing that I find a common denominator with, you know, visual artists, particularly with a camera, is that, you know, we have this unique foresight because we see different degrees of, like, you know, before, as we're producing and we're thinking about it, then you've got that actual process where you've got to interact and collaborate with people. Absolutely. And then that post element of, right, let me sell it to you. Yeah. So it's a complete process. And 100%. You know, there's people throughout that are different, they think differently.
Yeah,
so,
I mean, each one can be fun, you know, they all have their own unique differences.
Yeah.
But definitely when they come all together, it's so rewarding to see the finished product and what everyone's been working on come together. Yeah. The massive collaboration. It could be 2 people, it could be 1 person, it could be 50, it could be 1,000. Yeah. It's always different.
That's true. Yeah, that is so true. Extras, all the other little things involved, that you can have such a small production, but then you think about it, you can have massive ones as well. So
everyone's just as important as each other, you know. That's the main thing.
Yeah, so true. But so else, like, similarly as well, and obviously you've been in the industry for about 7-8 years as well, your lane is a little bit more unique because it's not coming at it like this is kind of creatively what I do, but like you found a creative way inside the creative world. So tell us about that.
I mean, I never knew I was even going to end up in this path, but for me, like I said, 7-8 years ago, it was actually my brother who got into the industry first, doing location catering for TV and film productions. And I think a year in, you know, they needed help and stuff like that, so he gave me the call. He said, look, there's a sports personality award show coming up, we're going to need help. So went in for the first job, and then it was a slow move in terms of just going and helping them out on little jobs, couple of days here and there, and then through that I eventually started to build my own connections, and ended up finding myself my own team to go and work with. So that was the route, but I think with catering, you know, there's only so much you can work up towards.
That's what you mean.
And I had the experience of, you know, starting low and then going to a point of like managing my own team and running the jobs myself. So then we ended up moving into doing craft on set, which is literally just drinks, which is so much more easier.
It's simple, but compared it's more consistent.
And a lot more fun, a lot more easier, a lot more consistent. So we was helping out a friend, and I think with just, again, like we was talking about earlier, the ripple effect of like lockdown and stuff like that going in, work's just been up and down for me. It for the last 2 to 3 years, it hasn't been consistent. So it got to a point where, what am I doing? What's next? Because I don't actually know what I want to do. I just know I need something that is, you know, going to allow me to have some sort of, you know,
certainty.
Just going forward in life. So I was actually on a private job with my dad doing painting and decorating. And we was talking about his retiring, and he was saying, you know, he wants to go and open like a burger van or something, and I said, forget that. I said, if that's what you really want to do, I said, like, I've been doing the coffee craft, let me put you together a business plan, tell me what you think. So I did that, and he was on board with it. And ever since that, which was the beginning of this year, we've both just been working to getting our own craft done now. So that's where I'm at now. Just converted my whole sparks, got to get the equipment and stuff, and then get back out there on the fields. See how it goes.
See, again, uniqueness of conversation. This is why I like doing this, because, you know, a lot of people look from the outside, they see what you're doing, but they don't necessarily know the work that goes into it. They don't necessarily know the limitations that you might deal with dealing in that industry. You know, but things like this where we communicate and we talk, even just little things that you tell throughout your story, people will pick up on and be saying, oh, right, okay, so you can do it 100%. That way, or you can figure it out this way. I thought you just had to do this. I thought you had to do that. And
that's massively important, because
and word of mouth plays
absolutely
a big part.
You know what, that's a quick segue. Like, how important do you guys both think, or how important has word of mouth played for both of you?
For me,
massive.
I mean, that's what got me in.
Starting out as a freelancer, that's what you need, isn't it, really? You need that word of mouth, because you're not going to get booked otherwise. Here's my company, all right, who are you?
Exactly, what do you do with that?
I mean, you need someone to vouch for you and say, you know, I've worked with him before, he's really good, he does this is the work that he produced, actually show it to them and be like, okay, you know, this is what I want, this is what I need, I know he can do it because I've actually got the word from someone.
Very true.
And I think anyone can have qualifications as well. It's you as a person, what you bring to the table.
That's a good point.
And, you know, you can put two people in a room and someone might have all A's and someone might have nothing, but the person that has nothing might be able to produce better work than the person with all A's.
100%.
So, word of mouth has been big for me, and I'm very grateful for it.
Very
grateful.
Word of mouth, something I've grown to appreciate over the years, because, you know, we learn through school that we have to go this way, do it that way, follow a certain path, and you can tick all of the boxes, and then you realise you still ain't getting the results, and you sometimes question. And I used to think to myself, okay, well, I've got this in place, I've got that in place. What's kind of missing? You realise it's the relationships.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's doing
people.
Things like this.
Of course.
Yeah. Everything you do is bottom line. You're working with people, aren't you? So
it's true. Yeah, you have those people skills, isn't it?
Even being here today is word of mouth from Ellis, essentially.
Yeah,
so,
it's true.
Because I saw your stuff and I was like,
100. Because I've been seeing, obviously, online. See, this is what good thing about social media. I always tell people, don't just sit online with connections. Make an effort to like meet people, bring out,
absolutely, make it human
in the real world.
Of course.
Otherwise, you just get lost online thinking, I know him, or I know her.
Yeah.
But do you really?
You know
of like
facts.
Now we've met each other. So obviously, I've got a chance. We've seen each other before, but now I know you.
Absolutely.
Now it's like, okay, person I know in the industry, you relate to them, you connect with them. You know, you're more likely to bring them through for something. You know what I'm saying? So
definitely.
Before we jump forward, I want to bring it back a little bit because obviously if we were getting in, there's a little backstory of where you come from, where you've been raised. Do you know what I mean? Like, I think that's important as well.
I was raised in the streets of Lewisham.
Yeah, man.
No, not in
From the streets.
Born and bred South East London, Lewisham's. Moved about all over there really my whole life.
There's something special about the South, isn't it? Something special.
Do you know what? I love where I come from.
Yeah.
And I always pay homage to it, but you need to know when to get out of it. Because I feel like you can easily get caught up of just being in the comfortability of the same stuff every day and putting up with the same things.
So true.
And even just like travelling to come here today, just going through different areas, it's just like, this is nice.
Yeah.
Like, it's just something.
It's different.
It's something different. So, yeah, I'm from those areas, and
you got to have your wits about you, innit? Like that's what it is. Like when you come from where we come from in certain states of, let's call it working class, let's call it council estates, let's call it whatever, free school dinners. Do you know what I'm saying? Like
we love this free school.
Shout out the free school dinners. I was talking about this last episode. Yeah, it kept us going, man. Like little things like that you overlook, innit? But
absolutely,
I like people who come from tougher backgrounds because it hardens you.
Absolutely.
I mean, I'm happy for the background. I'm happy that I wasn't given everything because if I was to lose it all, I wouldn't know what it felt like. Whereas this way, I'm coming from nothing, and whatever I gain on the way is going to mean a lot more to me than just it being given to me. Do you get what I mean?
Yeah.
So whether you're brought up on a council estate, council flat, or private renting, or you own your property, or whatever it may be, it's the journey that's important.
I do think that's a massive part of your lifestyle as well, just being grateful for, you know, whatever your situation is. And I know there's a lot of people's situation out there that can be terrible, but as long as you've got a roof over your head and you've got people, just be grateful for the little you do have. And even if you don't have that, maybe you've got something else that is just as important to you. Be grateful for that and move forward, and don't feel like the world's out to get you and everything's against you, because it's not. And you create your own, you create your own destiny. And it's important to understand that you have the power in that.
Yeah, that's a powerful statement in itself, because a lot of people just go through life, I think, not really appreciating what. And
it's hard. It's not easy, of course. You know, hats off to everyone who tries.
And I think we've all had our phase of going through and feeling like that, like not appreciating.
Definitely.
Do you get what I mean? And you have to go through things
to understand. To appreciate
things. Do you get what I mean? So
big true. Yeah, that's very true. So Zona, you growing up I'm guessing the same environment, you grew up close to each other? Like,
so we have actually always grown up. So Ellis is my cousin. I don't think we've established that yet. Ellis is my cousin. So your dad and my mum are related. So we've always grew up in a very similar area. I know Ellis has been about a little bit more in terms of moving house and stuff. I've always stayed in the same house. I grew up with 4 siblings, so there's 5 of us in total. My parents are together, they've always been together. And we've always lived in the same house, and growing up with 4 siblings is always, I'm very grateful for that, because for the hard times, the fun times, all of it, it's taught me a lot, you know. And even now, to this day, I'm still luckily close with them, and
that's good.
We still learn from each other to this day. We help each other out. A lot of us are in the same industry as well.
Nice.
Yeah, so it's quite funny how
it is, but like you said, you know, earlier, when one of the people in the family takes the lead in the sense of, you know, going down a particular industry, obviously it rubs off on the rest of you.
Of course it does, yeah.
So, you know, I'm not saying I personally took the lead, but we was always interested in film and stuff like that. So my brothers are actors.
Nice.
One's a musician.
Nice.
One raps.
Nice.
My sister's into entertainment law.
Wicked.
And I'm a filmmaker. So
yeah, that's a nice holistic package. And then you've got Els
it's a
as
nice
well.
home to come from, isn't it?
That's what I'm saying. And then yeah, that's what we're talking about.
Well, mine's the opposite to that. I've lived alone from young, so I came out of my mother's house when I was 17 and went into hostels.
Okay.
So for about 3 years, I was like back and forth in between different hostels.
Yeah, man.
And then eventually got my own flat, and I think I finally got my own flat when I was 20, 21.
Yeah.
So I've grown up with family. And so I've got 4 brothers and 4 sisters.
Okay.
But not all in the same household.
Okay, yeah.
So when I was at my mum's, it would be me, my twin older brothers, who'd met one of them, and then my younger sister. And our age gaps are quite big. So it's like 11 years.
I've got that, same thing.
So in terms of like creativity, my brothers are very, very good in terms of like music, drawing, creating.
Yeah.
Like they've helped me with my logos and stuff like that with my businesses, and they're creative in that way. So I feel like that's definitely had a rub on me. My sister's quite young, so if anything, she's looking up.
Of course, yes,
to us.
Yeah.
So I think for me, with the age group as well, I've found it quite difficult trying to figure out what it is I want to do, or what path I want to go down.
Yeah.
I've just always known I want something that's just going to be able to be good to me.
Yeah, of course.
So that's why he plays a big part in terms of the inspiration behind wanting to be my own boss.
Yeah, entrepreneurship. Yeah, like
because it's not around me, you know. It's not directly in my household.
Yeah,
so you have to go and
you got to find out answers. Yeah,
it's hard to figure it all out yourself. Definitely,
I think it's impossible.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Who makes it by themselves?
Nobody.
I always listen to some of the words of Arnold Schwarzenegger, and he always says, "I'm definitely not a self-made man. There is no way I could get to where I am today by myself. Impossible."
No way.
Like you said.
That's
you need.
good point.
What did they say? It takes a village to raise a child.
Exactly. Yeah.
And I take that same kind of thing into work or career mode.
Of course.
Because there's only so much you can do by yourself.
Yeah.
And you might know it all, but there's still only so much you can do.
Yes, there is. Yeah. So, it's a gift and a curse when you are an independent thinker.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I had this conversation with my friend the other day. The world's becoming more about group thought. You know, we're becoming more group thinkers, and it's a good and a bad thing because it unifies people more.
Right.
But it doesn't create opposing views. We don't challenge certain things as much. Yeah. We feel upset if people, you know, we challenge their worldview, and people are very defensive of that. So I think we need to get back to a space where we put our ideas out again. We kind of go away from being fearful, and we be more confident in what we do and share that.
Definitely. Yeah, I agree with that.
I do as well.
That's a big important thing. But so transitioning, because obviously both of you very creative family, very similar to like myself too. You know, how much? What I wanted to ask you, how much would you say culture plays a part in the type of work that you create? Because from my personal experience, being Caribbean, coming from that expressive, vibrant lifestyle, it just naturally comes out in the work that I do and the people I want to work with.
Oh, absolutely.
So, what was that like for both of you guys?
So,
culture,
for me, like coming from a household of a lot of boys, right? So as I mentioned, there's 4 boys, 1 girl.
Okay.
So you can imagine there's a lot of fighting.
WWE, I was just about to say. DDTs. I was about to say The Rock and Stone Cold is present.
I had a few bus slips. My cousins like practicing on me.
Yeah.
So growing up in a household with 4 boys and 1 girl who's also a bit of a beast. Because my sister's the oldest, right? So she's basically the leader of the siblings because she's got the age element there. So she definitely falls into that happily. But And she's a Leo as well, if you believe in stars.
Oh, yeah. So she's in fire mode. I get it. Mm-hmm.
So growing up in the house, obviously, we're boys being boys, just... also from a Turkish household, obviously, with, testosterone. It's just beastly, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, of course.
So that does play a part. And obviously, being in that house and playing those games on PlayStation and having that kind of environment, and going out in the garden and doing sword fighting and stuff like that, because we watched a movie like Gladiator or something, and we've been inspired, or mum and dad are watching a Turkish show, and a lot of them are based around Ottoman Empire and sword fighting and all that kind of stuff. So fighting, in a sense, not for to hurt someone, but for just that competition, that combat has always been a part of me. So as you can imagine, done a lot of action movies.
Of course.
So I started off with action,
Nice.
Kung Fu and all that kind of stuff.
Wicked.
So we do a lot of sword fighting stuff, samurai stuff, and it definitely plays a part. Obviously, I can imagine that's why I wanted to go down that road, and why it interests me, is because it's always been a part of my life.
Yeah, of course, because I mean, once it's culturally inbred, it just comes out. Whether you try to, I think, whether you play sport, whether you get into creative field, it's
definitely.
It's important to showcase that history,
definitely.
That lineage of where you come from as well.
Because you don't want to forget it all. No, if everyone forgot all their cultures, I mean, it would be a very bland world, wouldn't it?
Yeah, tasteless. In a way, it would be very tasteless.
I mean, literally, tasteless.
Quite literally.
Where you getting your seasoning, you're not.
This is the important thing, man.
There you go.
And there's something to be said about marketing that seasoning. You know what I mean? I've always seen this from an early age, is people who come from our backgrounds where they, very cultural, very expressive, very vibrant.
Yeah.
As you go up the ladder, I realise things get more and more plain and simple because it's easier to market. You know what I mean? When you've got a lot of vibrancy, when you've got a lot of question marks and randomness, it's that people kind of push it aside. They're like, I don't really know how to handle that. I don't know how to market it. So with us, we've got this uniqueness of how do we fit quite in? I want to just be a bit more free and creative, but they are telling me I've got to market it this way. You know what I mean? So how have you found that marketing yourselves as individuals, as what's been the pros and cons, let's say, of trying to market yourself in today's society?
See, with me, with my mentality, I always just do what I want anyway, in the sense I'm not gonna I wouldn't make a piece of content because I thought, this is what someone else wanted me to make, or this is what someone else wants to see. If I'm going to make something, I have to have the passion for it, which means it has to be coming from me and what I want to make. So I do tend to just focus on what me and my team want to make rather than anything else. And obviously there is that kind of shrouding over, is it going to do well because of the marketing and all that kind of stuff. But I think whenever you do something from passion, it comes from a pure place, and that is massive, and I think that definitely helps. So
passion. I mean that's ultimately kind of the theme of the conversation that I wanted to talk about, which is essentially that idea of how can you take passion to production, how can you produce from passion, and it's becoming more and more of a thing. You look at social media, you look at technology in general, everyone's finding unique ways to monetize something that they're passionate about.
Definitely.
And where we come from, it's harder to do that consistently for a long time. And then generate enough money you need, because you're looking at these markets all right, this lane makes X amount of money, it'd be good to get into finance, banking,
of course,
etc. And then the creative fields are a bit more throw that bit of question mark. It's you can do it, but how much are you going to get for it? And then you've got people questioning, are you really going to make enough money to do that? So it's a lot to deal with, you know what I mean? But as I can see from both of you, you've got a unique lane, obviously with the filmmaking, and now you're getting in behind the scenes in the film industry. They're good perspectives to have, especially for the young people out there.
Definitely. I mean, a lot of things I learned, I really wish I knew, early. Really early. But I'm also grateful for learning it, because at least I've learned it.
Yeah, true.
And I think something else as well, what my brother taught me, getting into this field, was it's not what you do, it's where you do it. And that has stayed with me ever since.
That's a good point.
Because you can look at me, for example, and be like, she's only doing coffee out of a trailer cup. Well, where am I doing it?
Precisely.
Do you know what I mean? I'm travelling around all the time with productions and TV crews. I'm meeting new people every single day. I'm seeing new sceneries every single day. I could just be in a cafe.
making stable money, doing fairly well for yourself, and like you said.
So it's definitely not what you do; it's where you do it as well, and how you do it.
Yeah, that's true, and it really shifts the narrative for young people as well coming into any industry. I'm always trying to give little bits of nuggets of information to young people can tap in, and that's a really key one. Like, who you know also is important,
of course,
but like you said, where you do it, location, because you can do the same thing, but if you do it in a different part of the world or a different time, the results can be drastically different.
100%.
100%. So let's get onto more of the film side of things, because obviously we're all in that industry, you know what I mean? So from your perspective, making films, how have you seen the shift from us growing up to now in terms of like the things that we talk about, the ideas in film, and then kind of how you make it work?
I mean, it's a big subject.
Massive.
So
a bit sensitive.
Yeah. I mean, films in terms of films in general. I mean, you could tell obviously they've changed massively from back in the day, where I feel like a lot of the stuff was massively story driven.
Yes.
You know, the character driven, and getting that full circle, and you know, a lot of stuff that is made today is too.
Yeah.
But of course, obviously, there's the whole situation with being woke and making sure that your film adheres to public, you know, society policies, or kind of things like that, which is, personally, for me, can be, you know, if it's done right and in a proper way, it's okay. But you don't want it too much in your face and like, you know, taken away from the creativity or the story or the characters and stuff like that. Because it's like, well, you're just ruining the story, and then what's the point?
Yeah, you know? 100%.
I think there's other ways to jump on these, talk about these issues and sort them. Basically.
Yeah. I know what you mean. It's almost like, because we've got access to certain, you know, technology, social media is almost like you give people an inch and they will take those miles, isn't it? It's like,
definitely,
it's the world we live in.
Yeah. And I see it from you know, trying to look at my younger siblings and seeing, like, it's easy to say, oh, this is how it is now, we've got these opportunities, we want to change things, but we don't often think about the effects of how that affect the younger generation coming through. And I think there's something to be said about a little bit of discipline and temperance in the things we talk about.
100%.
There's nothing wrong with being opinionated,
of course,
but I think what we do now, or I've seen a lot of online, is a lot of these argumentative based conversations, these viral talking point things where
and there's no respect no more as well, and I think that's a big factor as to why these conversations can't happen, because you should be able to have a conversation with someone and not agree with them, but still respect.
That is massive. Like,
opinion.
You can have your beliefs, we could all have a chat, and let's say, oh, I've just found out you oppose one of my beliefs. Should that instantly make me not like you?
No.
Like, I'm sure there's loads of things we disagree on, but that's the beauty of life. If we all agreed on the exact same thing, this will be AI. We might as well be robots.
How do you grow? Do you know what I mean? You're never gonna.
Where's the conversations?
You're never gonna be able to learn.
Well, I think that there's something unique in the fact that this is why I make an effort to make these things in real life and make these real connections, because it's quite easy to reach out online. And people spoke to me earlier when I was doing a podcast and they said, why don't you just, you know, reach out to people and do digital stuff and just do Zooms and stuff like that? And I said, no. The number one thing, it has to be
100%
in person.
So important.
Even if it's more infrequent. And there's been times when I haven't posted as much as I wanted to. Because I'll make sure these have to be in-person convos. I won't allow it to be just digital, because it waters down what you're doing.
Absolutely. It does, you're right.
It's just like a little throwaway thing. Oh yeah, look at it. But when we're actually meeting in the flesh, you know, you cement and you solidify them things.
100%.
So
no, it's just so important. And I thought, you know, we don't want to go down that road where we start doing everything digitally, because then we lose that bond, that human bond, that people interaction. You know,
I don't like it. I honestly don't like it. I don't like the fact that I don't have someone else to interact with. I don't want to pick up the phone and talk to a robot. I don't want to go into a supermarket and not have someone to serve me. Obviously this is today's day and age where we're moving into, but it does I feel like it's just creating everyone into like this mold, you know, taking away socializing, and I don't know how to put it, but you just end up being in for me anyways, lockdown, for example.
Yeah.
Being locked away in my house, I live alone, I'm on my own, I'm in these four walls. Yeah. You can very easily get comfortable with staying in that. And stepping out of your front door just to go to the shop can be a very big deal.
Yeah.
Because you've secluded yourself in this.
Yeah.
And with the way society's going as well, it's the same thing but on like a big scale.
Yeah, massive scale.
And with what we're talking about as well, it's the communicating, the meeting people, the learning, the growing. It's just all of that's just like going out of the window. And
100%. I mean, going all the way back down to civilizations years ago, you know, what is the basis? It's people. It's the connection between people, the communication, the working together that allowed them to build such amazing civilizations and stuff. And to where we are today is because of that reason.
yeah.
Now we're starting to go away from that, and it's quite scary what road that will lead down.
Yes, me too. I agree 100%. I think that for the next generations, we cannot expect to influence and inspire them digitally. I don't believe that, you know, any of the things that I've learned in the world that I grip onto today, they were all things I learned from a real person, from when I first did karate from the young age, my senseis, to football coaching, to being in the flesh and teaching you and telling you what to do, and to my dad, like being there physically.
Happy Father's Day today.
Yeah, happy Father's Day for others as well. That's another thing. We're filming on Father's Day, so this obviously won't come out on Father's Day, but you know, to all of the fathers, salute to you guys out there doing amazing work. It's those physical. It's in the physical. It makes a big difference, doesn't it? It's like when you know people, as opposed to. I think it leads back to what we talked about earlier as well. Reason why it's harder now for people to get by is because they have all of these digital connections, but they don't have many real ones.
Yeah.
So when they got to pick the phone up and say, "Oh, I actually need you,"
they don't know how to do it.
I'm worried because I only really speak to you digitally.
Right.
How can I ask you to do something so personal now?
100%.
And then you're like, damn, I really don't have people in my phone book. I really thought I had. Like, and it's unique. That's why I've made an effort in the last few years to make these connections. Because everyone who comes on there, they say a similar thing. They say, it's quite refreshing to have a conversation.
Absolutely.
It's quite nice to come out of the house and do something. I'm like, damn, this is what we did growing up.
Yeah. It's crazy the way it's not normal anymore.
Like with my childhood growing up, I was outside all the time.
Yeah.
That's it. We was all outside.
And that's a massive thing.
No one had phones, right?
We
had phones, but it wasn't the iPhones.
Exactly.
We had the little Sony Ericssons or the Nokias or whatever.
Flip things.
And no one had credit, you know. We might have
Never
had a
had
little
credit.
5-day pass if we got lucky, but everyone knew where to meet up, what time and what.
Yeah,
that's true.
Organisation skills
without
right there.
even communicating though. Like summertime, you know, when summer holidays come, we knew where we was meeting up. We knew what time.
Definitely.
And even in that process, the playing up, the meeting people, you know, being able to get streetwise and learn things from that side of things, to living in a world now where, I mean, I don't have children, but watching other parents like pushing their child out, like go out and play. They don't even want to go out.
They're trying.
Not that it's a bad thing. It's nice that you can stay in your home, you know, but staying in your home like this all day.
No, it's not healthy.
No life.
You're not learning anything like that.
You're not learning anything.
No, you're not. You're have basically what you're doing is we're constantly being entertained. You know, by someone else's narrative, and it's an insidious way a little bit because they're making something from it. It's not like before, like I just want to get to know you. I just want to get to know you. It's like come follow me because you know clicks, views, money, marketing.
See my world.
It's unique. It's like
so true.
Attention grabbing. Attention stealing everywhere you look.
And having that constant hit of dopamine isn't doing you any favours. Man. I mean, it's conditioning your brain to have joy upon instantly on tap whenever you want it.
And it doesn't work like that.
So what happens when you get real joy? And then what happens when you're upset or you're sad? Because then those little things ain't going to help you in those situations, and then that will mess with your mental, your psyche. And
man,
it's
that's
not
such
good,
a powerful. That's a huge statement as well, like what you just said. Because what happens is you get used to getting something so consistently, you think that you're getting the real thing. You know, just feel like artificial things in general. Then, like you said, when you get the real thing presented to you, you don't even. I don't think you would even get to a point where appreciating that it's valuable. You know what I mean? It's like, I'm used to that. So when you get some real love, you get some real passion in life, you get 100%. Some real connection, it's just like, I got that.
Exactly.
I got loads of that.
And then you start to drop opportunities.
You realise you ain't got none of it.
Trust me. Yeah, that's so true. See, that's why I like talking about concepts as opposed to things.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
Because, like you said earlier, it's about who you are, what you do, and where you do it, as opposed to kind of like, I do this thing. Yeah. I'm really known for this thing, because that thing loads of people can do.
Of course.
So what makes you unique at doing it?
Of course.
And that's really what it is. Like we've reached this point where there is no more uniqueness, and that you can't really create unique. Everything's been done before. Everything's a copy of a copy.
I think uniqueness will now it comes from you as an individual person.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's very important to be liked.
Yeah.
This is what my mum's always told me. You know, it's very important to be liked, because
that's
again, it goes into you know, word of mouth. If you're very liked, in your presence, leave something in that room that you've left. Whoever's in that room is always going to remember you.
Yeah.
And even if it's 1 week, 1 year down the line, something might come up and be like, I need to go and call Els. All because you're just liked. You have a pure heart and you're cool.
Yeah, you know.
And I think that is the biggest part now. And that play, going back into like production work.
Yeah.
That play is a very big part.
Huge, isn't it?
Because how many crafts have you seen on production sets? How many caterings have you seen? There's loads.
Yeah.
They go through them like there's loads of them.
Yeah.
But it's who you are. And for me, going on a job and having to be taken off a job because I need to go and help out on another job, and these guys are like, no, we need you back. That is what I root for.
100%. It's personal.
Because I know I've come into work and I've left an imprint on someone's day.
Yeah.
Not just because I make drinks.
Yeah.
It's because of me and who I am as a person.
That's facts.
So I feel like that plays a big part as well.
Well, it makes me think about you know, a little bit of learning information for the people out there. You know, people often ask me, "Now, how do you get into what you do? Like, how do you get into that industry?" And I tell them a lot of the time, it's development of character.
Yes.
Because people think it's the skills. Oh, so you went to this school, you did this, you did this. And I tell people, it doesn't matter. Because the uniqueness of your character is what separates. So when they're looking at, all right, who should I bring in to do this job? This person does it well, this person does it well, this person does it well. Which one do you pick?
Exactly.
You pick the one you connect with the most. The one, like you said, likability factors into that too, which is a bit of a weird one today, because most people don't want to be liked, don't it? Like, everyone wants to be this disagreeable, arrogant person.
I want to be liked.
I think it's not unhealthy to want to be liked, because what that means is you're nice to everyone, you know, and being nice to everyone is a bad thing. If you just got pure intentions, you're cool with everyone, you say hello, and you've got genuine intentions, that's all it takes to be liked. And if those are things that you don't want, I think we need to have a conversation about that.
There's something not going right.
You're right, and I think with the rise of getting onto a little bit of the, you know, the mental health issues and things that we deal with, because we're specifically all in that creative field, so we can speak on it, like, it's uniquely different to working in a stable position job where you know, the things you deal with, you got that work life issues, you got like bosses and management and things like that. But I think in our lane, in what we do, it's more intrinsic. It's like your personal self kind of overrides sometimes what you're doing. So let me break that down. Essentially, for example, you're working in, you know, those interactions with people on a day-to-day basis. I think what happens is ego overtakes us. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? So if you had the ego that, okay, I've gotten in here, but like, this ain't really enough, you know, like, oh, I want to be here, but I see them doing that. You're constantly looking outside yourself. Yeah. You're not present in the moment.
With what you're saying in terms of ego, and you know, if you stay, I want to be like that, or I want to get there, or I've had my fair share of doing it as well. Yeah. You end up realizing you're just chasing something that doesn't exist.
Yeah, you're chasing, like trying to chase your own tail.
And you don't actually appreciate the moment you're in. Yeah. And actually just appreciate, no, this is what I have. This is what I've done. Yeah. I might not be there yet, and I might still have a lot of work to do, but I've come forward because last year I was down here.
Yeah, facts.
So, yeah, staying present in the moment is something I've tried to drew into me of recent, because it is very easy to get lost in what you should be like or where you're trying to go instead of just being present. So, yeah.
It makes me think of one of the talking points I wanted to bring up, which very nicely segues to the watch time hours.
Yeah.
Because that's something I wanted to highlight, which is today, watch time hours has become a very, very important thing, because it's about how much you're absorbing, how much you're consuming, and then that naturally just affects what you do. You know what I mean? And I think what we've got now is more consumption than overproduction. Do you know what I mean? That this consumption versus production battle. And we're on the right side of it to a degree. So this is why we deal with these issues. We're like, how do we get better? How do I improve? Because we're trying to produce. Right. Whereas I worry a little bit about the future of this AI taking over. Don't worry about it. We'll do this for you. Or universal credit. There's all these different things that they're trying to introduce to take away that ownership from us. 100%. And I think those pains we deal with trying to figure it out is important. Yeah. And I think if they remove that, I think we can have a whole nother problem. So like watch time hours and things like that. How would you say that you can just recognize how it affects what you do, in terms of, is it an attention thing? Is it something we can overcome by putting the phones down, which is obviously hard? Like, what do you guys think?
It is a big topic, that one. Personally, with me, I try to keep my hours to a minimum, in a sense of, I'll only go on my phone and start swiping when I'm in the position to, in a sense. If I'm in bed and it's like, I do a little scroll for a bit before I go to bed, or if I've got some downtime between shoots or lunch break, or that's when I'll go on. I wouldn't sit there in a room with people and then just start scrolling for hours, because then it's like, it doesn't make sense, does it? Like Eddie said, I'd like to be present in that moment, because then I want to live a full life. I want to make sure I'm there. I don't want to be buried into my phone. It's not doing me any favours. I'm not gaining anything from it.
True.
Like, I've got to look at the risk reward. And if it's not going to pay off in my favour, then I'd try and stay away from it, wherever it may be. And that's just one of those things for me. Yeah,
and that's a good way of looking at it. I mean, being present, like you said, Els, is like, it's harder and harder to do, isn't it? It's, I think personally for me, I'm a little lucky, because I started off young. My dad and family got me into martial arts, right. And then having cousins and family members, you spend more time with family, so you're either doing something or you're spending time with people. And I think now you've got this in-between time where young people, like you said, you wouldn't sit in a room and just be like that, but young people are.
This is the thing, young people are, and
they really are.
Really important for, like you said, to learn a discipline at such a young age is half of the problem, because your mind is disciplined, and for any kids out there, learning a martial art is 100% the way to go.
It's amazing.
You learn defense, you learn confidence, obviously the big one, discipline, and these are all things that you need in life. Not you should have, you need those in life, because the world we live in is it's not easy to get by. It's cruel, and it's a massive competition, and if you want to see it like that, but
discipline is a very big factor.
Yeah, you're highlighting discipline is huge, isn't it? Huge, because if you don't have it, you can see the people who don't have it, man. It's 100%. So evident, and it's the one separating factor between successful. Anyone that I look at that I'm inspired by, they all have a level of discipline. Yeah, all of them.
100%. And don't get twisted. I'll wake up some mornings and I don't feel like doing anything, man. I really don't.
We're all humans, right? So every day is not going to be a perfect day.
Yeah, and sometimes I'll give into it.
But it's I won't do anything. To recognise and acknowledge, because even with his experience with the, what did you just say? The work, the hours on the phone, for example.
Yeah.
My experience will be a bit different to his, because as much as I agree with what he's saying in terms of you can't like being lost in your phone. Yeah. But whereas for me now, I live alone.
Yeah.
I can go days with speaking to no one. Yeah. Do you get what I mean?
I see what you mean.
Because you get caught up in being on the phone and just texting.
I see what you mean. Yeah.
And it
that's
gets
your form of communication.
It's like, hold on, I ain't even spoken to no one.
Yeah.
And when I'm not busy and I have got time on my hands, you can easily fall into the trap of just scrolling on your phone.
It's true.
But then it gets to a point where it's like, what am I doing? I'm just wasting time. Like, what am I actually doing right now? So it's, you know, it's easier said than done. I think your surroundings as well will have an input on it, because if I'm busy and I'm out and about, I don't care about my phone.
That's true. Yeah,
I honestly don't care about it. So when I'm at home and I'm by myself and it's just me and my thoughts, it's me and my phone. So I might get into that habit of having my little time of just scrolling for the sake of scrolling. But it's finding the balance and discipline and being able to recognize it. Do you know what I mean? It's you taking control of your day. And not allowing that to take control of you.
Which takes us onto like self-accountability, essentially. As long as you're self-accountable for your actions, man, this world would be such a better place.
Oh my gosh, it'd be amazing.
So many people, like the smallest things as well.
Oh man, it's amazing, isn't it?
It is crazy.
The finger pointing has got quite scary today.
There's no like there's nothing bad about owning your wrongs.
No way.
There's nothing bad about it. In fact, it makes you.
Growth.
I was going to say, in fact, it
makes you a better person. It's definitely a positive. It's hard to do, of course,
at the time,
but you'll come out of that feeling so much better and freer that you've just been honest to yourself. You know.
I love the fact that I can go to someone and say, do you know what, I'm sorry for the way I spoke to you, instead of them having to pull me up and be like, the way you spoke to me was
100%.
I'd rather nip it in the bud and get there before.
Because you've done it, so it should come from you.
I did it, so I have to go
take ownership.
100%.
But that doesn't happen.
Passing of the buck. So that's a statement of passing the buck. We have a lot of that now, and we have a lot of. You know what's funny? Like statements I remember my parents telling me growing up are things that we're kind of throwing out the window now. Like for example, you can't be wrong and strong. My grandma used to say that to me all of the time. Can't be wrong and strong. Can't be wrong and strong. And you listen to people now online, and it's like they sell being wrong and strong. They're selling it to us, and it's quite scary. You know. But again, it makes me, you know, this beautiful thing about this conversation is quite fluid, and I think of something which I guess isn't really a concept, but as it could be, natural investments. I think what we have a lot of artificial investments in society. So we artificially invest here. Prop this up, but it's something you have to maintain and keep pumping artificial things into to keep going. When I say natural investments, I'm talking about things that you already have instilled in you: discipline, temperance, desire. These things you then go into the world and you just naturally invest. Like for me, these conversations don't feel like I'm doing anything special. I'm just reaching out to people who share my likeness. We're like-minded, and then we kind of just we collaborate and connect.
And this is why I gravitated to this particular podcast, because I'm, like I was saying before we started filming, my anxiety, I don't like it. Like my anxiety goes knowing that I'm being filmed and I'm going to be talking.
I hear you.
But it's just so natural. It's not forced. And I gravitated to that, and that's why I'm able to be here today. Because this wouldn't be happening.
That's so true. I like that, and you know that makes me feel good in general. Just because when you create something, you don't necessarily know where it's going to go.
Exactly.
And one thing I did say when I began this was that I'm a very humble person by design, and I wanted this to be. That's why I called it After You, because the whole concept was about me being more quiet and stop looking towards, because I realised leading before this I was doing a lot of independent things about me, you know, showcasing what I do, me, and I thought to myself, like, what do I do for anyone else?
Exactly.
That's a massive one, actually, because I've had this epiphany recently myself. You know, making films and stuff, it's like I'm making, like we had the conversation earlier, I want to make things that I like and what I'm passionate about, but recently I have been having the switch of that, where it's like I want to tell other people's stories and make content that other people would benefit from more so, and you know,
connect to.
Definitely. And so I've kind of also wanted to go down the route of documentaries and to hear people's stories. There's like people who are local to our area. I don't know if anyone knows this guy called Fritz from Caffiend. But he's this guy.
The big bad boy.
He's basically been on the streets like since secondary school.
From what I know, from
longer.
My whole life growing up
streets
in
of Caffiend.
Lucian.
Yes,
Lord.
he's just well known.
If you're from Lucian Borough, you will know.
Fair.
You always see him out.
To my sister, she'll probably know.
But basically, Fritz is. I I think, you know, he's a drinker.
Okay, yeah.
He's always got a beer in his hand or something,
yeah.
but he's always on the streets and you always see him. But he's a, from what I know, from my experience, he's always got a smile on his face.
Yeah.
He's a guy that...
He'll big you up.
Yeah.
Like he's for the culture, if you
that makes sense.
You see, like, I know exactly what you mean. I can get a picture of my head.
It's, you know, it's been playing on my mind to kind of make a documentary about people like that who could be on the surface look misunderstood, and you might think, oh, look at him, he's, you know, he's not
always on the street.
Yeah, look at this guy.
But you can actually go and have a conversation.
But guess what? Every time I've spoke to him, it's been a pleasant encounter. He's been really nice, and he's got a smile on his face.
Yep.
And you know, making work like that to maybe change people's views on other people, and
absolutely,
just with the pure intention there, basically.
So true, man. And that's a natural feeling. That's a natural investment.
Absolutely,
that's exactly what we're talking about. It's things that you can't tangibly put a price on.
Exactly,
perhaps, but they're invaluable. You know, afterwards, because the feeling that you get from that connection, the feeling he'll get from that interaction they're priceless.
There's no gain on that. You know, I'm not thinking of that because I'm thinking, oh yeah, there's something I can gain from this.
Yeah.
It's simply because I want to tell someone else's story.
Yeah.
And I think there's beauty in that.
There is.
Yeah.
There definitely is beauty in that. And I think there's something powerful about being behind the camera.
Absolutely.
You know, we've got a unique power to be able to tell stories, to direct a message.
100%.
And that's what I think the reason why I got into photography at first is transitioning from football, which was my first passion. It's using your body, it's using yourself to be effective. You know what I mean? It's physical, it's like competitive, it's nice. Yeah. But transitioning into photography was more about capturing of stories.
Right.
You know, like I'm a very visual person. I see things in pictures. So I always think back to like people that have helped raise me, helped give me opportunities, and I think like, how can I kind of give back to that? And and photography just kind of found me. I've always said I didn't find it.
Nice.
It found me. Yeah. And that's why it's materialised, I think, today where we have these things. So
true.
Natural investments are so key, man. Like for me, because I think it also dictates how you meet people.
Of course.
You know what I mean? So
massively.
You're not just reaching out. Like this connection wasn't really, I reached out to you to say come on the pod.
It's supernatural, isn't it?
It's like you reached out because you saw a pod that we done with Calvin, who's a mutual friend. And then next thing you know, bang, we're sitting down here discussing things, and who knows where it will go to next.
Exactly. That's the beauty of life, though, isn't it?
It's unique
I think
power.
that's a bit of me in terms of what you were saying, like wanting to be able to give back. And I tell you all the time, I don't know what it is I want to do in life, but I just want to be in a position that I can give back.
Yeah.
Like I'm one of them people, I can sit and watch a video of someone giving back and I will cry because I just want to be in that position to be able to do it.
Yeah.
And even with, you know, the business I'm doing now with Caffiend.
Yeah.
I cannot wait till I'm on a job and I can bring my people with me, and till it gets to a place where I can have more than one job on and I've got even more of my people coming in. That's what I live for. And then just being able to make someone happy. Do you know what I mean? Being able to just show appreciation.
Yeah, it's huge.
Putting a smile on someone's face is... It's free.
Priceless.
It's priceless.
Yeah. You can't charge for it.
Exactly.
And I always say the things you can't charge for are the most valuable things.
Oh, always.
You know, because that's the reason why you can't put a price on it.
Exactly. Exactly. It's not what
it's not meant for that. You know, it has a different purpose. But like, So, as you just briefly talked a little bit about it, like, tell us a little bit about what Caffiend is all about.
So, Caffiend is a mobile trailer.
Nice.
And we're going to be doing hot drinks, coffees, teas.
Nice.
As well as like lattes.
Yeah.
I bought a horse box and I've basically converted it.
Nice.
It's all on
creativity.
Instagram.
See, creativity, that's what's cool. Like, so you can take anything. People will talk about like how do you get like your spot? What do you buy? Do you buy a caravan? There you go. Horse box.
It's literally from experience of, you know, being able to work under other people and see how they operate their business, and then being able to say, I can do this, but even better. So it's putting my own essence into it.
I like that.
So that's what I'm kind of doing now. So I've got the horse box, we've converted it. I've got a few little electrical things to do.
Cool.
Once that's done, get equipment in, and then Mr. Sonnet Films over here is going to help me with my like promotion videos
to make it look good. Yes.
Get that out there.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're doing hot and cold, sometimes cold.
Cool.
Based on TV and film productions. I will probably be picking up small events, festivals in the meantime if work on productions is a bit slow.
Of course.
But that is the beauty of having like a craft fan. You're not
mobile.
You're mobile. You're not stuck in one place.
Yep.
You know, I'm going on a tour this year and I can just go and travel if I want to do it.
Yeah, and that's
or I can
freedom.
just find a nice little location and stay there.
Yep.
So yeah, that's what I'm doing at the moment and what I'm working on. I'm hoping in the next few weeks we can be finished.
Nice.
And then we can do the big push of, you know, getting in contact with different productions and letting them know that I'm back and I'm here and I'm ready.
I like that. Being on the front foot, and you know, for the people as well, it's another great example of creativity in itself to get it off the ground, but just in the concept itself. Like, it's not really a lane most people think of when you think of the film industry. You think, oh, where'd you work? What do you do? And everyone's thinking, what department?
I get that question all the time.
And then you're
so are you on the camera? Like, there's not just cameramen on a TV or film production. There's so many different.
It's vast, isn't it?
But I do get it though. If you're not in the industry, it's like how would you know all these?
Yeah, it is true. It is true. Like, there's so much.
Oh, that's a lot. I mean, think about when you watch a movie and you see the credits. How long do the credits run for?
Exactly.
And it's just names and names
of people, man. Like,
there's so many departments.
Insane.
Oh, it's crazy.
And I mean, obviously, you got that. So yeah, Sona, tell us a little bit more about like doing it on your level, because I've got my friend as well. He's a cinematographer, does his things, small budget. It's a different experience when you haven't got those, you know, the big investors and you're doing a big, massive production. So like, what's your inception? How's it been for you?
So when I first started, starting from freelance, starting my business, Red Phoenix Films, we started on smaller projects, of course, like local businesses and small businesses, and interviews and corporate stuff like that. Until a job came through from, again, someone we knew, so word of mouth.
Yeah, of course. That's how it works.
Yeah, to do an interview with Andy Serkis.
Oh, wow.
From Lord of the Rings.
Of course.
Plays Gollum.
Caesar.
Yeah, Caesar. Planet of the Apes.
Yeah. He's like the animation animal legend, isn't he? He does so many.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
So, being a big fan of him, that was really big for me. So that was my first, big one.
Of course.
And, just got to meet him, got to have a chat, got to listen to his interview and do the job, and it was great. And just starting with that kind of just set me up, because so early I was able to work with someone of such a high stature, and that definitely helps for me.
Propels you, doesn't it? Yeah,
it does.
And to start like that, kind of like a trial by fire, I was like, oof, the pressure's on. Can I handle the pressure? Done it. Knew I could. I was like, okay, so this is a good confidence boost for me.
Yeah.
To take it forward.
Brilliant.
And then just from there, I made sure I marketed myself in a way where I'm doing these jobs. You don't need to see it.
Basically, yeah.
I don't want to just be doing this and leaving it. Otherwise, how's people going to know what you do?
Very true.
So from that, I got some other big jobs. I went touring with Skepta.
Amazing.
Filmed some stuff with him.
Just say that one more time, innit? Like, because people just think that's calm, innit? Imagine they're going to be like, huh? Say what?
So,
what did he say?
We went on tour with Skepta for his SK level tour.
Amazing.
So countries like Paris, Berlin. Cities like Paris and Berlin.
Yeah.
And just filming the event itself and getting to see him perform. And obviously, I've always been a fan of Skepta. Boy better know.
Yeah. Boy better know. Always.
So it was great to do.
Listen, that's amazing.
And then just onwards and upwards from there. I just made sure that I didn't want to go backwards. So I tried to make sure that the jobs I was taking from then on were bigger budget and made sure that I could use my creativity. Smart. And from there, I basically started to get into a bit more like TV and film production type stuff. So started to make my own short films and commercials and stuff, which I actually made a Nike short film with a friend of mine. His name's Alban.
Nice.
Super creative guy. He actually come to me with the concept. I loved it, and we made it.
Wicked.
And it was really well received by a lot of people, because it was really like that kind of Nike style, but with our own little twist on it and the story.
Yep.
And a company
storied brand, doesn't it?
Exactly.
So it's just that same kind of element.
Absolutely. And from there, a company called Sports on Screen, which is run by Andy Answer.
Okay.
He used to do TV shows. He used to be a footballer. He done Street Striker with Wayne Rooney.
I remember that. Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember Street Striker.
He saw that piece of work and was quite impressed, and then he wanted to meet me. So we got to meet, met the guys at Sports on Screen. Amazing. And they do a lot of work with Nike and all these big brands and stuff, right? So all of the those Nike adverts, those crazy ones, even the animated ones and stuff, they like work on them and cast for them and choreograph and all that kind of stuff.
That's brilliant.
So I was able to kind of do work with them,
nice,
which brought me on to work with footballers. So I got to work with Kevin De Bruyne and Marcus Rashford and people like that.
Wow.
Again, just further building on that, that work, going into more commercial and higher budget stuff.
Yeah.
And then now I'm doing my first TV commercial actually tomorrow.
Brilliant.
Can't say what it is.
Of course,
it's going to be on ITV.
I know.
Can say that much.
Yeah. That's brilliant.
But yeah, and it's just I'm just enjoying the process.
Yeah.
I'm not in a rush to be at the Oscars.
Yeah.
I'm just enjoying the process, and I think that's a massive part of it. Really enjoy every step that you take. And realise that it's not a race, it's a life.
Yeah, it's a marathon.
And just enjoy each step you take, because who knows when it could end, for one. You could be done tomorrow.
Yeah,
and
exactly.
you could have been so far thinking about the future and the end goal that you don't even know what you did yesterday, because you're so just focused on something that's so far in the future.
Yeah.
I think I actually came across some sort of interview or something that kind of touched on that, and I can't remember it word for word, but it was something along the lines of, what is more important to you, the end goal or the journey?
So important.
And he went into it, and I honestly can't remember what he was saying, but
got the gist of it.
I got the gist of it, and it was just he basically said, like, look, everything you go through on your journey is what makes you as a person. Yeah. That's where your growth comes from.
Yeah.
So if you do what you was just explaining, and you don't stay present, and you do just focus on the future, and God forbid something crazy happens, you haven't actually been able to live and be happy and be present and just experience what's happening today. And I've definitely been like that, because I think as humans, as you go on and you get older, pressures start to come of, all right, I'm getting to this age now, time is a big thing.
That's it, man.
And I look at me like, oh my God, in a few years time I'm going to be this age. I don't have kids, I'm not settled down, I don't have this, but I had to stop putting that pressure on me, because there's no time for these things. It will happen when it's meant to happen, and I'm happy the way things are planning out. You know what I mean? If it doesn't go, if I feel like if you take too much control over certain things, it's not you're not naturally gonna get what you're supposed to receive, and
that's so true.
The end goal of things.
Definitely.
No, that's so true, man. Like you always have to. I consider myself a naturalist. Like whenever I do things, I try to look at the nature of what I'm doing, as opposed to just like what it is.
100%. That's
because
so important.
the nature is what affects things. It's the biology. It's the chemical.
It's the intention.
Science. That intention, and the meaning behind it. We overlook these things because like they're harder to kind of value. It's harder to like put a tangible number on 100%. What you can do with it. So people just like, they disregard it. They're like, nice, I can't value it, I don't know how much I can make from it, whatever.
But that's the society that's been built, isn't it? Like, focus on only the tangible. And that's a very dangerous road, because so many things in life are untangible. The biggest thing, which is love, is intangible. So if the biggest possible thing, what about the rest? And then there's a lot.
Yes, there is.
So it's key to be able to open yourself up to those things, because
we're trying to put a number on everything, basically.
We're not in the Terminator yet. Maybe one day, but let's try not to.
Man. No, I hear where you're coming from. That's it. I mean, it brings me on to one of the last points I really wanted to highlight, which was marketing yourself, because you brought up a little bit in there when you were just mentioning today. Marketing yourself is quite different, especially based off of what you do. So before we kind of had community. We had togetherness, we had people, we had word of mouth. Everything was very kind of like, yeah, I know that person. Oh, you looking to do that? Cool, go over there. You're looking to do that? Work with him. Today, it's very hard to isolate who will genuinely help you.
So true.
You might be wasting a long time with the wrong people. And that's what I really want to avoid for the young people. Like my young siblings, cousins, family members. Yeah. I try to tell them the real. Right. As opposed to what sounds good.
Yeah, I think you have to be as honest as possible.
Yeah.
Because then you're allowing people to understand what it is exactly they need to do. You know, you're not setting them up to fail.
Yeah.
You're preparing them.
And it makes me think about the statement, fake it till you make it.
Yeah.
It's something that I don't personally like because I've seen from first-hand experience how hard it is. Yeah. Like from football to get to the level of playing at high levels to
so true, mate.
To sport, to entertainment, to creativity, everything. You know, the years, the grind, the hours you put in when no one sees you.
Yeah.
That doesn't really get highlighted much today, and they tell you that, you know, if you find just a quick get easy, quick rich scheme, basically just make money quick, basically, like, that's fine.
Yeah.
Just fake it until you get there, and then clean up your image after. Right. And I have this, and I'm like, listen, that ain't gonna work that way. It's not gonna work that way, because that's where the mental health issues I think are raising. You know,
I think it is quite a lazy way to look at it.
Yeah.
Because it's like, I'm going to fake it and I'm going to make it. Well, what about a person that's just put in 20 years of work? Do you deserve it more than him? Absolutely not.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%.
So, yeah.
And then people have this notion, well, I've had, not say arguments, but debates with people here or there about, because I am that person who's done that work. Right, so, of course, I'm going to be biased of, leading towards you should do the work. However, like I said, it is easier. It's a lazier way. Yeah. Yeah. So if you can get there quickly, which some people can now, viral content, trendy talking points. I can't tell you the amount of people that have told me, yeah, man, you should talk a bit more about trends. You should talk a bit more about what about your captions, the way you're explaining. I'm just thinking that to myself.
This country's just full of sheep.
So I'm like, so I shouldn't do what I do creatively. Yes, I should follow what everyone else does. Right? What's creative about that?
Exactly.
What's different?
You just change yourself in someone else. So why are people now going to watch you if you're exactly the same as someone else?
Exactly. Why should they believe in you?
Doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
I get where they're coming from. Yeah. I do.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's you're taking away authenticity from the person.
I just don't think it's for everyone, innit? So there's some people that don't have, the discipline and the patience and the courage or even the support around them to be able to maybe do it
a better way.
Yeah. So they might go for the lazier option or the quicker option. I think the importance in that is being able to, you as an individual, being able to understand that you can still do it. Yeah. Regardless if you take the shortcut or not. And even if you don't take the shortcut, it doesn't mean, they're better than you or...
Exactly. It should never be an aspect of people being better than anybody else. Exactly. It's differences and recognising how you can improve upon it. That's why I always take this approach when I sit and speak with people, no matter what. Whether I'm speaking to a homeless person, whether I'm speaking to a Fortune 500 CEO, it doesn't matter. No. I always keep a consistent line of communication.
Human beings.
Precisely. And in fact, some cases I'd probably show more respect to the homeless person.
Because his journey's probably going to be a bit more tougher.
Yeah.
There's going to be a bit more respect because there's going to be things you're not going to understand.
Yeah, he would have gone through hardships that you've never been through.
Understand.
And that's another thing when it comes to looking at it the way you said, because it's like, let's say a person who's put in a lot of work for their careers, and now they're rich, cool, you've done well for your life, great. But then let's say there's a homeless guy who's still been through a lot of stuff and hardships in his life, but let's say something falls into his hand, like a lottery ticket, let's say, and he gets rich. Also, good luck to you because you've been through stuff. Yeah. Maybe not worked hard for that specific bit of money, but you've been through it.
You've been through a lot.
If you've kept your integrity, you've stayed a good person, you haven't been out to hurt anyone, maybe you deserve that.
100%.
And that's fine,
Yeah.
But
good luck to you.
That's different, right?
Yeah.
Compared to like someone saying, there's a scheme we can quickly do. You know, if we do it in 2 weeks, by the end of this year, we could be making certain amount. Do you know what I mean?
We've all got that phone call at some point where someone said, "Yeah, man, I've got this business idea, man." You're just like, "What?"
I think we probably all played a part in that, trying it out as well.
Of course we have, yeah. Because I mean, life is about exploration, isn't it?
Absolutely.
And that's why it goes back to the discipline. From early ages, because I think of it as a responsibility from my side, because I think if you get gifted with information that can help people, I look at it as a responsibility to help others.
Yeah.
Oh, definitely.
So if you are that person who has the info and keeps it to yourself, fair play to you.
Yeah.
You're more within your right to do so. But
yeah.
I pay a lot of respect to people who choose to still help after, even though it could still burn them, even though they could still get, maybe potentially stabbed in the back. There's something very honourable.
Yeah.
Oh, massively.
Even with like the business, for example, and making the website and the Instagram for it and stuff, the feedback I've been receiving has been so overwhelming.
Yeah.
And even from, and it's always people you don't expect.
Always.
It's always those that you might have met once, had one conversation with, and they can just see your full potential.
Yeah, man.
But even with some of the feedback I've had with that, one person in particular, as soon as they saw what I was doing, they were so happy for me, like, once you're up and you're ready, like, let me know. Once I finish this production, I'm on the next production, I'm going to go to the UPM and I'm going to refer you. And I got teary-eyed because I was like, oh my God, thank you so much. Like, you don't have to do that.
Of course you don't.
And he said, well, it's no money out of my pocket. Like, I'm not losing nothing from it. If anything, it's a gain.
True.
Whether I get to be on a production set with him again or not,
it's the opportunity.
The way he's viewing it is I'm helping someone, and that's how I want to be able to do as well. But if we had more people like that, I think there would be a tiny little bit more happiness in the world.
There would. There definitely would. I think that there is room to be collaborative and also be successful.
Yeah,
absolutely.
I think there's going back to that competition versus collaboration argument.
Yeah,
people will think and they throw all of the money in the competitive side because you've got to be assertive, confident about your stuff, and I think you can still be all of those things, but why can't you be humble as well?
Of course.
Why can't you be reserved and also be open-minded as well? I don't think there's this one thing. You got to have this and then you can't have that.
Yeah,
it's just like, wow, come on, the human brain is so complex that we haven't figured it out yet.
Do
you know what I mean? It's like, we sit here like, no, this is how we're going to be forever. And you're like, evolution is constantly happening.
So welcome change.
Yeah,
and don't be afraid of change.
Yeah,
because it's just growth.
Naturally, I suppose. Naturally, as humans, we are quite scared of change, aren't we?
We are.
Yeah, of course.
It's just comfort zone thing, isn't it?
The fear of the unknown. It's
exactly.
Coming here.
Exactly, that's what it is.
Like my whole journey here. From last week I've been speaking about it. I've got a podcast coming up and I'm so nervous. And it's the fear of the unknown. I've never done it before.
Yeah.
But I've done it now.
And you'll be able to do it easier
and I'm going to be able to keep doing it, but get better at it.
100%.
So it's okay to feel a bit scared, and it's okay to have anxiety. It's okay to feel like you can't do something, but just don't let that get in the way.
Don't let it hold
you.
The process.
It's just the way you look at it, man. It really is. Because everyone gets it. No one's safe. It's just how you deal with it.
Yeah.
And instead of when you get those feelings, thinking, "Oh my God, shit! Like, this is too much. I can't handle it. I don't want to do it. I'm not going to do it." No. Instead of doing that. Just think, okay, this is a reaction my body's having because something big is coming up.
Facts, yeah.
Just sit, have a breather,
channel into the moment.
Yeah, just think for a sec.
Be present in the moment.
Just think about, all right, what's the worst that can happen? I'm going on using this as an example.
Yeah.
But what's the worst that can happen if I go on a podcast? I mess up, you can cut it.
Yeah.
Worst that can happen.
And I say this to people all the time. They get so stressed. Like, what if I say something wrong? And I'm like, it's not live.
We're not on BBC
We're not
News
doing it live
right now.
I'm not there yet. Like, one day we're going to get there. We can have a nice audience. There's going to be people out there.
Exactly.
And they'll share our same vibe. But that's one day I'd love to be able to get to that point.
And you will.
But, exactly. You got to tell yourself that you can.
Of course you will.
That's the number one thing. And there's something special about these interactions. And that's why I think podcasting is blown up so much because it's nothing special. we're just having communication. We're just communicating our ideas between each other.
Just how important that basic conversation
huge,
is,
man.
Just sharing ideas and sharing
Natural
life.
conversations.
Yeah.
People love that because it's important.
People are missing out on.
Yeah,
you know?
That's why I think the mental health is
going back onto like what you were saying earlier in terms of just trends. We don't want to see and watch the same things all the time. We don't want to hear the same. I don't.
Yeah.
I want to learn. I want to be able to hear someone speak and learn something.
100%.
Like, oh, that's why this happened, or whatever it may be. Whatever it may be.
100%. I mean, like you said, until you almost sell people on the success, it's sometimes hard to sell them on it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? It's like if we're sitting at, like, if we sat here, and this is why I always take away from outside things. I don't try and talk about, because I know we're all successful people. The people I brought on the podcast, some of them done incredible things. You guys have sat here and told me about people that you've met, Andy Serkis, big name Skepta being on tour. That stuff gets to, like, if we sat there and talked about that just for an hour and a half, what was the tour like? People are now going to be engaged.
Definitely.
Do you see what I'm saying? Because it's someone of like-mindedness that, oh, okay, you did it with that, it now qualifies you. You know what I mean? But if we sit here and talk a little bit more about personality, character, discipline, maybe it doesn't get as many views. But from what I've realised, the few people I get that big up what I do far outweighs the potential for people just clicking and resharing.
Yeah.
You know?
There you go.
You know what I mean? Like, I get messages and people say, man, I saw your podcast and I really appreciate the refreshing type of content. Oh, I really appreciate you actually get people on and talk about stuff that's not trendy. It's not a viral talking point.
Yeah, because it was so easy to see that now.
So
I want something different.
Yeah,
100%.
Yeah, man.
And something real.
Yeah.
Let's start with that.
So just to
Going on TikTok and seeing a dance, what's that doing for me?
Nah.
Is that making me happy? Do I feel anything? No.
Yeah, it's true.
I scroll straight past.
It's true. It's true. And then you keep scrolling.
Yeah.
Like, we're in a loop, aren't we?
It's like a vicious cycle.
Yeah, we're in a weird loop. But yeah, hopefully we can break those things down slowly but surely.
I mean, that's the aim, right? I think even with the pathways we're taking with work, it's breaking that cycle, you know? I don't want to continue to live a generation of like having children and we're in this world and you just got to get on with it.
Other. Yeah. Just crack on, stay in your own little bubble and hopefully it works out.
I'm trying to get to a place where I'm creating, so I have a purpose here and I'm fulfilling that purpose. Do you know what I mean? So when I do go out the game, I've lived a life.
That's it.
I haven't just been comfortable and just gone on with it kind of thing.
Well, last little point, guys. I mean, it's been an amazing conversation. I really want to highlight and touch on, well, two things really. One, I want to highlight the importance of doing things that you really have a passion in, and like we obviously been highlighting it in the conversation, but I think there's something to be said, especially to young people watching, about doing something that doesn't necessarily get the eyes and attention, but it makes you feel good. And worrying less about what people think about what you do and more about the value you create doing it. Do you know what I mean? So that's one thing I really want to highlight of importance. But more importantly, can both of you give me, and obviously the audience, an example or a bit of, let's say, advice for the younger version of yourself? So that 10, 11, 12, 13-year-old version of you, because now with the life experience you have, I'm sure you could give advice to yourself.
Yeah, of course.
I always ask that because it's quite unique. So, you know,
I think
what do you think?
For me, I would say I would tell my younger self it's okay to be scared. And it's okay to, you know, try new things out. It's okay not to be like the rest. It's okay to be, you know, true to yourself.
That's a massive one, actually. Be unique, and it's okay to be unique. That's what makes you you.
Because I think me, looking back into my younger self, I was very, like, easily influenced and just followed the crowd.
I see it.
In your longer journey, I think it makes it harder for you to identify who you are as a person and just what you stand for and your values.
If you don't break it early, it's like, it's okay when you're young.
So I'd just say, you know, just
don't be fearful, basically. Like, don't move with confidence, move with, you know, faith and belief in yourself, as opposed to
courage.
Yeah, bravery. You know, and not worry as well. I'd add into that. You know, not worry about what others may think about what you're doing. As long as you're not hurting anybody out there. No. I think that it's always a positive thing if you feel good about it first.
Yeah, of course.
100%.
People try and make you feel bad about that today. That it's like, you feel good about it? It's like, it's selfish. It's like, in order for me to do it consistently, there has to be an element of where I enjoy.
Because I'm passionate. You know, you're the one doing it. It's coming from you. Precisely. You're not making it, so don't comment.
Precisely. And then you also want to gain something from it when I give it to you.
Exactly.
Like, if I'm doing it resentfully, like, take that. It's like if you cook food. Imagine you're cooking food, and you just throw it all together and take that. You know, people are going to be like, okay, what do you do to that?
Where did that come from?
Like, do you know what I mean? I don't know. Did you season this properly? But that's so key. That's so key. But what about you, Sean? What would you say to the younger version of you?
There's a lot.
That's what I had to pause. It's so much.
It is, isn't it?
There's so much I would want to say.
It's a good one.
There is definitely like a main one, prominent one that pops out for me, which is regarding to the film stuff.
Yeah.
And that is, make stuff that, and I was doing this because this is how I started, and the reason I created the passion for it is because I was making stuff that, you know, related to me, like I said, that kung fu stuff and fighting stuff. Yeah. It's what I wanted to see, so it's what I wanted to make.
Yep.
And it was a fun process doing it.
Nice.
As advice to myself, I would say I wish I'd done more of it, you know, just keep doing it.
Yeah.
But for the younger generation out there, whatever it may be that you want to do, whether that, you know, filmmaking or whatever, music, you have to just make your own stuff and just keep doing it.
Yeah, I like that.
And what I mean, like literally, if I'll go on filmmaking because this is what I am, but if you want to be a filmmaker, just go and buy the cheapest camera you can and just go and make something with your friends.
Yeah.
And guess what? You'll learn so much from that one thing than you will from any university.
Yeah.
Anything like that. Because I've been to university and I can speak from experience that I learned more making my own stuff with my friends and family than I ever did in university. Not to say don't go to university if you want that degree. Do what you got to do to, you know, get your degree.
But get your qualification.
Yeah, it's not the be all and end all if you don't want to, or you can't afford it, or anything like that. But yeah, just make stuff, man.
Yeah, make it yourself.
Yeah, always. No one's going to make stuff for you.
Yeah.
And that works for any field.
Yeah, it's just, I was literally just thinking about that, like, you know, whether you was like Gordon Ramsay out there, or whether you're, you know, a Nolan, Spielberg, anyone. Anyone who was significant worth.
Anyone, all the people you just mentioned.
Yeah.
They literally
create.
Steven Spielberg would go to the studios dressed as a film director with his briefcase when he was younger.
Yeah.
When he wasn't even a film director yet. I don't think he even directed any films at that point. But he would go there to make sure he felt like that person.
Yeah.
And look at him today.
Visualization, you know what?
Massive. But
you
also just doing it is important. Like visualization is great.
Yeah.
But we were having this conversation earlier, weren't we? Manifestation without like putting in the energy, the action, exactly. Like, so let's say I want something, you know, let's make it tangible. I want a Lamborghini.
Yeah.
What am I going to give to get that Lamborghini? Okay, I'm going to give hours of my time. Hours. I have to think and, you know, create. So that's so many things have to come together for me to get that. So I'm putting in a lot. I'm not just thinking, I want a Lamborghini, let's write it 100 times, maybe I'll get it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
There's ways you manifest, and it's by putting the energy in.
Yep.
And I think a lot of people think, manifestation don't work. Well, if you do it right,
work is actually required.
Right.
Yeah,
sacrifices are required.
It's an energy exchange.
Yeah, I was going to say, like, basically manifestation is there's nothing wrong, and I've said this before on previous podcasts, it's like there's nothing wrong with manifesting your goals.
Yeah, of course not.
But it's one side of the fraction. It's one half of the fraction.
Yeah, the work
comes on top.
That's it.
It's like you got to have that as a baseline. You got to know, all right, cool, I'm trying to manifest this goal. I want to get there, the Lamborghini. You know, I want Caffiend. I want to be able to get into the industry and make a name for myself. But
I have to do the work.
What are you going to do
to get there?
Are you going to be willing to work at the horse box? Are you going to make it work?
There you go.
Because people will sit back and say expectations, but you got to, like you said, do it yourself. I'm a big supporter of that. Doing things by your own design, by your own hand.
Consistency comes in with that as well.
I really don't like people that sit back and expect things because they've got some status.
Entitlement.
I don't like that.
Entitlement's the worst thing.
Victim mentality and entitlement.
We talk about this stuff all the time.
Will lead you down a very dark road.
Yeah.
You'll be alone.
I think it'll be a very lonely life.
Very lonely. Who wants to be around someone who's constantly complaining about things, you know, out of their control, happening to them? Like, come on.
Yeah.
Take some accountability. Be in charge of your destiny, yourself, your actions, your life, and people might respect you more.
Yeah.
And being with what you said earlier, entwining both, like being humbled as well.
Yeah. No one's better than anyone else.
Nope.
I think
No.
if you it's good to remind yourself that there's always someone else out there in a worse condition than you.
Working harder.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like, there's
key point, working harder.
I might be upset about something so irrelevant to someone else. There might be someone that doesn't have no family. They don't have a village behind them to support them and give them their motivation every day of like, you can do this, get up, and it's literally them one up.
Yeah, that's true.
So, you know, I think just reminding yourself, you know, no matter how bad the situation may be in at present, at what you feel right now, there's someone else that's probably doing something a lot worse than that. And
that's facts.
Just humble yourself a little bit, man.
Yeah. No, I like that. I mean, those guys, I mean, honestly, we've given so much nuggets of information and it's just a natural conversation. I said before, the way I think it should be. You talk about who you are, we talked about our passions, we talked about how you have been able to produce things from that culture, history, how that plays a part. So you know, all of these things, there'll be someone out there, there'll be other people out there that relate directly to what we're talking about.
Yeah, definitely.
And like we said, we just build up that consistent chain of a network. I look at this as like building a family, like a family tree.
Yeah.
You know, everyone comes underneath the network and we all on the same path, we're all trying to get somewhere. Yeah. But we're on a different stage of the journey.
Exactly. But we're in it together, and that's the main thing. 100%.
Exactly. And that's an amazing thing. So yeah, firstly, you know, thank you for both sharing your time.
Thank you for having us.
Pleasure, honestly.
Honestly, been amazing, guys. And before we leave the beautiful people, let them know where they can find both of you guys.
Okay, so I'll start. My Instagram, I've got two. So my personal one is Sonez Films. If you want to check out my work, then it's Red Phoenix Films. Check out my website, it's redphoenixfilms.com. And those are all my links. YouTube, Red Phoenix Films.
Yeah, YouTube, of course, we can't forget that one.
Well, I don't have as many. My personal Insta is Els, but it's got like quadruple Z.
I'll put it in the description. It'll be added in. Don't worry.
And then my business page is Caffiend Craft. So follow us and see our journey of where we're at, and hopefully we'll be on set soon.
Well, that's what I was going to say. I definitely want to get both of you back on very soon because I mean, like maybe later towards the end of the year, we've got some more productions or things you worked on. Because I know this is the thing when you work in film. There's certain things we just have to keep
quiet.
It's natural. You can't really talk about it. Like, but I do know when the productions are out, I'll bring both of you guys back on and we could talk about how far you've come with Caffiend, things you've worked on, ITV,
definitely.
all of those things.
I'd be happy to.
Yeah, it would be amazing.
It'd be a pleasure. But thank you for coming on the journey as well. These guys have come from all the way from South London, man, all the way to bless the wonderful Slough with some knowledge and some nuggets of info. So appreciate you both, man.
Thank you. Appreciate it.
Yeah, beautiful people. If you guys enjoyed this conversation, you know, like, share and subscribe with somebody who's maybe in the creative field, maybe who's not in the creative field. I always find that sometimes you listen to conversations from people outside of what you do, you learn the most. Because it's just, the similarities aren't quite there.
Exactly.
Like, I didn't realise we're different, but we do that the same.
So true.
It just makes a big difference, you know.
Massive.
There's loads of that as well.
1000%. So without further ado, please go and check out both of these amazing people. Caffiend, she's working in industry doing wicked stuff, and it's a unique lane too for people out there that maybe aren't the creative type. It's amazing to see people who actually do things that are different and they can show you, okay, cool, maybe I'm not good at that, but I can get in this way. Or if she does that, maybe I could do that, you know. And man, Sona as well. Go and check out my guys' films, short production, documentaries, and we're going to have to talk a little bit as well too, man, because I'm big on the documentaries too. So
anytime.
We have to make that happen.
100%.
100. But yeah, to all the followers, all of the people showing love, showing love right back to you. And yeah, as I said, happy Father's Day to all of the fathers out there.
Father's Day.
And yeah, I'll see you wonderful people on the next episode. Until then, peace and love. Cover your 6.